Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll.
Yeah, and right off the bat, before we extract today's legacy code, a quiet thank you to the team at Elevify over on their digital platform, whose blueprint for global education set this whole stroll in motion.
So, absolutely, a huge thank you to them because, imagine stepping onto a university campus that, well, it has no physical walls, right?
Right.
It accommodates 250,000 students at the exact same time. It lets you completely, rewrite your own syllabus on the fly. And somehow it still forces you to rigorously prove you actually know your stuff before you leave.
It's wild. It really is.
It is. That is the structural chaos we're dissecting today. And, as the mentor of the Antaryami VA Academy, I spend a borderline unhealthy amount of time obsessing over what Gurukul 2.0 actually looks like in practice.
Yeah, I know you do.
We talk endlessly about evolving learning, right, and scaling human wisdom. But rarely do we see a system that fundamentally re-engineers how knowledge is delivered directly to you, the listener, while actually preserving the standard of that knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why, as the architect of Antaryami, looking at this whole thing through the lens of digital migration, I find the underlying structures of this platform just, so compelling.
Totally.
Because we aren't here to just read a course catalog or, summarize the syllabus. We are taking this entire ecosystem and putting it straight through the digital prism.
Yes, the digital prism.
Right. The goal of this Gurukul session is to extract the underlying legacy code. And when we say legacy code, we are talking about identifying the outdated, rigid programming of traditional location-based education.
The old way of doing things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And examining the new scalable architecture that is actively replacing it out in the real world.
And the scale of that replacement is, it's staggering once you actually look at the numbers.
Oh, for sure.
We are talking about an architecture supporting over 25,000 distinct courses.
That's just a massive catalog.
Right. And there are over 250,000 active students currently migrating through this system, spread across more than 100 countries. And despite that massive decentralized volume, they're maintaining a 4.6 out of 5.0 user rating.
Which is really hard to do at that scale.
Almost impossible. But the hook for me, the philosophy driving all of this, is a shockingly simple directive. It's just learn what matters. They are handing the learner these profound, almost intimidating levels of autonomy. You decide if you want a quick, 4-hour sprint to solve an immediate problem.
Right.
Or a massive 360-hour deep immersion into a brand new career. You literally pick and choose the specific chapters you want to study.
Which is such a shift.
It is. But from an architectural standpoint, this is where I need your perspective. How does a system even support that level of structural variance without just, collapsing into total academic anarchy?
Well, it avoids anarchy because the architecture itself is built on modular curation rather than rigid linear creation.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
So to build a digital school for the entire world, you have to abandon that old legacy code of the one-size-fits-all curriculum.
Right, the traditional textbook model.
Exactly. Instead of acting as a traditional university that writes a single static textbook, Elevify functions as a master curator. They use a highly automated technological pipeline.
Gotcha.
So the platform uses algorithms to identify and scour the absolute best global educational content available across all these different disciplines. But the critical mechanism is what happens next. Because they don't just, dump a massive 3-hour lecture onto a server and expect you to sit through it.
They put it through a fragmentation process.
Precisely. They actually use automated processing to break that monolithic content down. They turn it into discrete, highly accessible cognitive chunks.
Okay, yeah.
And then they translate it. Accessibility here isn't just about offering it in different languages or, making sure the server doesn't crash.
Right, it's deeper than that.
It is about cognitive accessibility. By automatically running the curated content through a matrix of modalities, they generate video, standalone audio podcasts, written articles, downloadable books, bulleted summaries, and searchable text transcripts, all from the same lesson.
Which means the student is no longer conforming to the rigid delivery method of the institution, right?
Exactly.
The platform is dynamically conforming to the student's immediate environment. If you are riding a noisy, crowded bus, you might need to read a transcript.
Yep.
If you are working at a desk, you might have the video playing. Or if you are driving, the audio podcast format is pulled from the exact same lesson.
It creates this really flexible cognitive matrix. The architecture just assumes that the environment of the learner is constantly shifting.
Right, life happens.
Yeah, so the delivery mechanism must shift with it seamlessly without losing the core informational value.
Oh, hey, wait, I hear that, but learn what matters sounds great on a bumper sticker, right?
Yeah.
But this concept of total autonomy still feels, I don't know, a bit dangerous.
How so?
Well, I love the multiple formats, but if you give a learner absolute control to just skip chapters and set their own syllabus, don't they risk missing the foundational knowledge they don't even know they need?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Like, if I want to learn how to build a house and I skip the chapter on pouring a concrete foundation because painting the walls sounds way more fun, my house is going to collapse.
Yeah, for sure.
So isn't this total freedom actually a trap for a novice who literally doesn't know what they don't know?
It's a fair point. It is the ultimate vulnerability of self-directed learning. And honestly, traditional institutions use that exact argument to justify forcing you into a 4-year prescribed track.
Right. They say we know best.
Exactly. But the developers of this system actually anticipated that structural weakness. They don't just let you passively watch videos on painting walls and then hand you a certificate in home construction.
Okay, so what's the catch?
They mitigate the risk of those knowledge gaps by enforcing a mandatory practical project at the culmination of the learning module.
Oh, so the ultimate filter isn't a multiple choice test, it's applied practice.
You got it. You cannot fake a practical project. The architecture uses these open-ended, applied tasks that are specifically tied to the professional skill you're claiming to study.
That makes sense.
So to use your metaphor, if you skip the foundational concrete chapters, your submitted blueprint for the house will mathematically fail. You simply won't be able to execute the end-of-chapter project successfully.
Wow.
The system uses demonstrated competency rather than, time spent sitting in a chair to verify that the curated knowledge has actually taken root in your mind.
That completely flips the traditional education metric. It's like saying, sure, take whatever winding, customized path you want up the side of the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Skip the base camp lectures if you think you know them, but you still have to physically prove you can tie the safety knot before we let you summit.
That's a great way to put it.
But wait, how on earth do they grade that? With 250,000 students taking wildly different paths, how does the platform objectively evaluate all those practical projects?
So this is where we see a really fascinating hybrid of artificial intelligence and human oversight.
Oh, AI grading.
Yeah, the platform utilizes API calls to large language models to evaluate highly structured, logic-based submissions.
Like coding.
Exactly. If you submit a block of code, the AI can instantly compile it, test it for efficiency, check against parameters, and provide immediate objective grading.
That's incredible.
It is. But for nuanced, subjective, or highly physical tasks, which we'll discuss shortly, the architecture actually routes those video or photographic submissions to actual human tutors.
Oh, real people.
Yeah, people who can evaluate the nuance of the execution.
Which honestly perfectly transitions us into the harsh, cold reality of economics.
Ah, yes, the money.
Because this hybrid grading system, the massive curation pipeline, the cognitive matrix of formats, none of this is free to operate.
Not at all.
And this is the part that always trips up those utopian global education initiatives. Like, how does a platform actually sustain itself while giving away this level of curated knowledge?
Right.
We really need to extract the legacy con of their two-tier migration, the free tier versus the pro tier.
Yeah, and the sustainability model here is perhaps the most elegant piece of code in the entire system.
Let's break it down.
Let's look at the pro tier first. For $37, and this is a one-time fee, not a recurring monthly subscription, a student secures lifetime access to their customized course matrix.
Just $37 once? That's rare these days.
Extremely rare.
Yep.
And they unlock offline AF capabilities, meaning they can download massive video and audio files to study without needing an active, stable internet connection.
Huge for a lot of the world.
Huge. They also get the downloadable PDF summaries, unlimited daily content consumption, and crucially, they get the full weight of the grading architecture.
Okay, so they get the human tutor, the AI grading, and the completion certificate. And we should probably clarify, you can't just pay the $37 and walk away with a credential.
Oh, definitely not.
You still have to successfully complete 80% of the syllabus you defined and pass the practical projects to actually get that certificate.
Yeah, it is a credential backed by verified effort.
Yeah.
And it's valid according to local regulations and actually recognized by corporate entities.
So it's verified proof of work.
Exactly. Now contrast that pro tier with the architecture of the free tier. This is where the structural genius of a functioning freemium ecosystem really reveals itself.
Because the free tier contains the exact same high-quality learning material, right?
Yes.
They aren't gatekeeping the good information for the paying customers. The raw knowledge itself is entirely open.
Which is beautiful.
And it's big, but they place very strict structural guardrails around it.
Right.
You only get 90 days of access, which, to be fair, they've calculated is mathematically sufficient to finish a course if you are actively engaged. But you do not get the human tutor, the AI grading, or the final certificate. And the most aggressive guardrail, the one that stood out to me, is the time restriction. You are strictly limited to 1 hour of study per day.
Right. And you have to look at that 1 hour limit through the lens of system sustainability. Why impose a daily micro-learning cap on a student who might want to study for, say, 6 hours?
See, this is where I initially wanted to challenge the system, because on the surface, that 1 hour daily limit just feels like a purely punitive digital toll booth.
A toll booth. Interesting.
Yeah, just an artificial friction point designed to frustrate an ambitious, impoverished student until they finally break down and hand over the $37 for the pro tier.
Right. I get that. If you view it purely as a consumer, it definitely looks like a toll booth.
Yeah.
But if you view it through the digital prism of a systems architect, it is a brilliantly calibrated survival mechanism.
How so?
Think about the sheer computational and human costs involved here. Hosting and streaming high-definition video and audio for 250,000 active students requires massive, expensive server infrastructure.
Yeah, bandwidth isn't free.
Exactly. And every single time the AI grading system evaluates a project, it is making an API call to a large language model.
Oh, right.
Those tokens cost fractions of a cent, sure, but multiplied by hundreds of thousands of daily queries. That burns through capital in a matter of days. And human tutors require actual living salaries.
So it's essentially like a municipal water system.
Yes.
The raw water, the knowledge is technically free, but the reservoir, the filtration plant, and the thousands of miles of high-pressure pipes required to deliver it to your house, those are incredibly expensive to maintain.
That is the perfect analogy. The some $7 pro fee is the economic engine that builds the reservoir. It literally subsidizes the free learning for the rest of the world. By limiting the free users to 1 hour a day, the platform mathematically caps its maximum daily server load and bandwidth costs per non-paying user. It prevents the system from being overwhelmed and bankrupted by its own generosity.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So the people who inherently need the official certification to advance their careers, who need the offline access for convenience, and who require the active human feedback.
Yeah.
They are the ones funding the infrastructure. They ensure there is enough water pressure in the pipes for someone on the other side of the planet who only needs the raw knowledge and might only have an hour a day at a public library computer anyway to at least fill up their cup.
Exactly. It completely removes the reliance on unpredictable charitable donations or bloated government grants. The users who need the credential directly fund the users who only need the knowledge.
That is amazing.
And the platform explicitly states this dynamic to its users. It is a highly transparent, balanced digital economy baked directly into the code.
That is a profound baseline for Gurukul 2.0. It's not just an edtech business model. It is a self-sustaining mutual support network.
Absolutely.
And it clearly functions efficiently at scale because when you look at the sheer hyper-specific variety of the curriculum they offer, it is mind-blowing.
Oh, it really is.
We aren't just talking about a platform hosting generic intro to business or basic coding classes.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, the catalog covers massive foundational sectors: natural sciences, law and public policy, engineering, transportation, security.
Right.
But the granularity within those sectors is where the modular architecture really flexes its capability.
Like you can study sports law or deep dive into football analytics.
Yeah.
You can get a rigorous lifeguard certification or take a netball coaching course. You can learn Zumba instruction.
Zumba.
The juxtaposition here is wild.
Yeah.
You have these highly physical, traditional, boots-on-the-ground kinetic skills sitting right next to highly abstract, cutting-edge digital courses like prompt engineering.
It's a huge spectrum.
It proves that if your foundational architecture is solid, If your curation, fragmentation, and practical grading systems are robust, this modular chapter-based learning can adapt to almost any human discipline.
We don't have to theorize about whether this adaptation holds up in practice either.
Oh, we have data.
Yes. The data is actively visible in the user experience. The platform, which operates under Gradual Holdings with infrastructural footprints in both Florida and São Paulo, Brazil, they've gathered substantial feedback on how this architecture translates to lived reality for the learner.
Let's group some of these student experiences together, because this is where the Gurukul 2.0 philosophy actually hits the pavement.
Let's do it.
Because you'd think a purely digital platform would only excel at teaching abstract digital skills, right? But look at the contrast between tactile, physical efficiency, and abstract digital processing.
Right.
Take Luciana Alvarenga, for example. She is studying nail design.
Okay, nail design.
This is a highly physical, messy, tactile skill. And she explicitly mentions utilizing the searchable video transcriptions to dramatically speed up her learning process.
Right, because analyze the mechanics of her environment, she is likely mixing acrylics, prepping a physical workstation, working with both hands.
She doesn't have a free hand.
Exactly. She does not have the luxury to constantly stop, clean her hands, touch a mouse, and rewind a video just to find one specific instruction about chemical mixing ratios.
So having the exact text transcription sitting right there on a screen allows her to learn at the uninterrupted speed of her physical work.
Yep.
The varied format matrix isn't just a neat feature. It is a direct tool for kinetic efficiency.
Absolutely.
Now contrast that intensely tactile reality with André Philippe. He is using the exact same platform, the exact same underlying architecture to study prompt engineering.
Right, a field that barely even existed 3 years ago.
Exactly.
It is highly abstract, requiring an understanding of how artificial intelligence parses and weights human language.
Right, and André specifically notes that having a diversity of content formats like complementary videos, layered with written articles and practical tests is what actually allowed him to grasp the material.
Because it's so complex.
Yeah. When you are trying to map the invisible logic pathways of an LLM, having multiple angles of explanation is critical for cognitive comprehension. One format might not click, but the overlapping matrix ensures the concept eventually takes root.
So the architecture conforms to the user, regardless of whether the subject requires physical replication or abstract synthesis.
Exactly.
And we see another layer of this architectural success when we look at how users navigate autonomy in unified ecosystems.
Yeah.
Consider Mariana Ferris, a photography student.
Oh, I read about her.
Her experience perfectly validates our earlier debate about the potential dangers of total autonomy.
Right. She actually praises the fact that the lessons are completely straight to the point and that she is empowered to switch chapters and skip content she already knows. If she has been a hobbyist photographer for 5 years and understands the exposure triangle, she isn't forced by a rigid syllabus to sit through the history of the pinhole camera.
She doesn't have to waste her time.
She jumps straight to the advanced module on modern portrait lighting, completes the practical project to prove she mastered it, and moves on.
She treats the platform as an efficient tool for targeted upgrades rather than a performative marathon.
Perfect way to phrase it.
And then we look at Giulio Carlo, a digital marketing student, who highlights the macro-level benefit of this entire structure. He purchased the one-year package and focuses on the incredible efficiency of following wildly different topics of interest without ever needing to switch platforms, manage different subscriptions, or adapt to new user interfaces.
He just has a single unified digital hub for all his curiosities and professional needs.
It's exact.
Whether he needs to understand SEO analytics today or wants to learn conversational Spanish tomorrow, the delivery mechanism, the grading architecture, and the cognitive matrix remain consistent and familiar.
So if we synthesize the mechanics of these experiences, the true value of today's digital stroll really crystallizes.
Yeah, it does.
We are observing a model that successfully applies a unified digital architecture to vastly different human endeavors. From a physical Zumba instructor needing practical project feedback evaluated by a human, to a prompt engineer needing diverse technical media evaluated by an AI.
The underlying legacy code of this platform just holds up under extreme variance.
It really does.
So what does this all actually mean for us? What is the final legacy code we are extracting from this massive ecosystem today?
What do you think?
Well, for me, the real lesson here isn't just about the mechanics of taking an online course.
Right.
It is about witnessing a massive, undeniable global shift from standardized factory model education to customized, highly sustainable, competency-based education.
Yes, it is the ultimate expression of digital migration. We are moving away from the outdated legacy code of rigid, location-based credit hour learning and migrating toward fluid, autonomous, globally accessible knowledge networks that measure actual execution.
You no longer have to buy the whole expensive 4-year university package just to get the few pieces of knowledge you actually need to solve a problem today.
No, you don't.
You extract only the specific code you need to upgrade your particular career. And brilliantly, it is all funded by a transparent, balanced digital economy where those who require the official credentials naturally support the infrastructure for those seeking the raw, life-changing knowledge.
Exactly.
And for you listening right now, it is a powerful reminder that in your own migrations, whether you are pivoting careers, upskilling, or just chasing a deep curiosity, you have the absolute power to define your own curriculum.
You are in control.
You can set your own pace. The architecture to support your specific, unique journey doesn't just exist in theory anymore. It is already functioning at scale, just as we've seen today.
You are no longer bound by the syllabus of the institution. You are the architect of your own cognitive matrix.
Which makes you think. We started this stroll talking about building a digital school for the entire world. But I want to leave you with a slightly more provocative thought to ponder on your own, applying the digital prism to the future.
All right, lay it on me.
If technology can now autonomously curate, translate, and deliver the absolute best knowledge in the world directly to your smartphone, even when you are offline in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And if artificial intelligence, combined with global human networks, can objectively grade our practical, applied understanding of that knowledge in real time.
Yeah.
How long until traditional, heavily indebted, location-based degrees are viewed not as the ultimate standard of excellence, but simply as an outdated, wildly inefficient legacy code?
Wow. That is a profoundly disruptive question to take with you.
Until next time, keep exploring the structures around you, keep questioning the old programming, and thank you for joining us on this morning walk with Murty Digital Stroll.